I'm Theo Landi. I live in the Springs. We moved there in 1977. We're in the party shop at 82 Park Place in East Hampton, and this is my business that I opened in 1990 with my sister-in-law, Jerry, and she was my partner for 10 years. We opened in a recession. We went through one or two more recessions, and winters are never the easiest thing in East Hampton, but nothing like this. But I do have to say, it sounds terrible, but if we had to have a pandemic and we had to close, I'm glad it was the winter. I have had the most wonderful landlord. The day we had to close, he said to me, Theo, don't even think about paying your rent until you are up and going and fully back in business. That's the kind of man Donald McDonald was. He's wonderful. He always has been. And many times through the years, he would say, Theo, if it's a bad winter, don't worry about it. You can always make it up in the summer or that kind of thing. Fortunately, we didn't have to, but it certainly helped during the pandemic because people don't realize you still have to pay insurance, you still have to pay electric, you still have to pay taxes. Those things still have to get paid, even though the door is locked. We weren't allowed to open yet, but I saw a need and I put a sign on the door and on my answering machine. I know we can't open, but if I can help you and bring something to you, give me a call. Well, by the next day, I had a sheet of paper like this of names of people who wanted balloons, party plates, things like that, because they were shut in the house, but they were doing FaceTime parties and trying to make life a great celebration as much as you could at that time. I wouldn't go to people's homes. I met them behind the library in the parking lot. And that way they'd get out of their car, I'd get out of my car, and we would social distance so we weren't transmitting any germs. And my sister came in and she was blowing up balloons all day long. And people were so nice and pleasant and thankful. They really were. It's a terrible thing to say during a pandemic, but it was a wonderful time. And then when we finally could open the door, we had this table up here and we put it in front, and people would social distance outside, and they would usually call first and tell us what they needed, and we would hand them the bag out the door. And then when we really opened, wow, it was our best year ever. The funny thing was, we couldn't get merchandise. And when I first opened in May, graduations were going on, and we couldn't get graduation merchandise. It was in the storage unit, and that was locked up. And we would put together parties for people, which is what I think we do. And they would say, oh, well, his school colors are silver and blue, so we would do a silver and blue party, or red and black. And people really liked it. I'm not in the store that much anymore. I do all the ordering and telling people where to put things, that kind of thing. But when I am here, I talk to everyone. People used to stop in the store. I've had ladies who used to come in because they had no one at home, so they would just come in because they knew I was here, and we'd chat, that kind of thing. And I love it. I'm not one of these people who feels, oh, summer people. I love summer people. It's the diversity. That's the area. There's one that I'm still concerned about. And he's a gentleman that has been coming in for so many years. He lives on Marine Boulevard in Amagansett. And for years, he has been coming in and buying special plates. We've gone through certain patterns that he would buy a case of this and a case of that. And then when that was discontinued, then he'd come in and we'd pick another one. And now we're finally to the solid colors. He's been buying Mediterranean blue for the last 5 years. And we haven't seen him. And I'm really concerned. But I don't have his phone number. And a wonderful man. He used to come in and he'd say, "Okay, I'm here. You know what I'm taking. Just charge me." And he'd walk out, and we have his charge here. And we have quite a few customers like that. They'll say, "You know, you have my charge. You know what I want." But I am concerned about him. I think people were just so glad to find things to entertain their children that they just would buy puzzles and coloring books and crayons and stickers and anything to keep their children occupied. And I thought it was a great time for family games. And I used to suggest to people, don't put the puzzle where the children can do it. Put it on a table. And everybody, when you walk past, everybody just put a couple of pieces in, you know? It's fun. Make it a family thing. But yes, people were really trying to entertain their children. And the adults also. We sold a lot of games and puzzles and crafty stuff. I think I give people a lot of credit. I hope we never have to go through it again. But I think we went through it well. And I think that really says a lot for the police, for the ambulance workers, the first responders, and for the people who come here. We really, nobody moaned and groaned and poor us and I can't go out and I can't do this, and nobody did that. Before we closed and the pandemic was just starting, you heard about the rush on toilet tissue and paper towels and water. You couldn't get it. I called up my company and I was able to get 96 rolls of toilet tissue. I did a pyramid in the window of toilet tissue with bows on it and paper towels and bottles of water. And people were coming in to buy toilet tissue. And I think it was $2.25 a roll. It wasn't a big deal. This one man came in. He says, "I need a roll of toilet tissue." And I said, "Certainly, it's $2.25. "I'm not paying that." I said, "I'm sorry, that's what it is. I have to go to Hampton Bays to get it and bring it here and everything. I'm not paying that." And after a while, he went to the supermarket and he came back. He says, "Give me 6 rolls." But I just loved the pyramid of toilet tissue with bows on them in the window. Rethinking. You had to rethink at that time what you're doing, not only with your life, but with me, of course, it's with business. And you had to rethink about your relationships with other people.